It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
So here's one that's going to be kind of contrary to what we hear about is friends and family and the stress that comes from friends and family. Yeah. Now, I want to set up a visual for you guys. Think about that whole marathon analogy again. And I've already kind of talked about this, but we have open, most marathons are set up where they have everything roped off. And you have people who are right on the sidelines who are clapping and all cheering. And, even we're here in the Music City, so it's not uncommon that when they have the marathon here in the Music City, they'll have bands set up.
Sure, yeah.
But the runner still has free and clear of the track. Right. The race area is free and clear, and their goal is to get to the finish line. What if every so often you had family members that ran out on the middle of the track and tackled their loved one and held them down and hugged them and kissed them and said, I'm so proud of you, you're doing great, or, hey, I need, and, you probably wouldn't see as much success in the marathon process if it was the obstacle of avoiding your friends and family as they came and tackled you on the course. But that is exactly what happens when you're saving for retirement. It is one of the key obstacles out there is that we all have stories. Remember I've told you we have this saving gene that they're going to discover, that they're going to figure out something to do. The problem, I guess a side effect I would say, maybe this is like a public service announcement. We're doing a lot of medical where I'm talking about side effects, but a side effect to being the one with the saver's gene in your family is that you probably have family members that aren't making good financial decisions. Right. They are not the ones who are making the decisions that are setting them up for the future, but they look at you and they go, hey, they're doing all right.
Right.
Maybe they can help me out.
Yeah.
And that's not uncommon. I mean, because you see it all the time. We see it with adults, with their children, helping them make decisions. We see it with all types of relatives where people are going out there and helping their family members and to the detriment of their financial life. And that's the key point, because I don't want everybody to go, you're at Thanksgiving and you go, I'd love to help you guys out, but I was listening to this podcast by this guy named Brian Preston who said, you know what, family, you're on your own. That is not what we're saying. I think there is something wonderful about being generous with your assets as long as you know where you are in your funding of your baseline goals yourself. Be generous with your assets, but don't do it as a detriment to your financial success. Bo, when we go speak at 401k meetings and so forth, you give an analogy of that flight attendant on the plane.
Sure.
Walk us through that analogy.
Yeah, when you get on a plane and the flight attendant gets up there and they start doing their sort of dog and pony, showing you all the safety stuff, the first thing they always tell you is that if the oxygen masks come down, make sure you put yours on before you start helping someone else. Basically, what they're saying is you have to make sure that you are secure and you have a foundation established before you can start assisting others. Your financial life really isn't a whole lot different than that. You have to make sure that you're doing the baseline before you can start being generous and kind of extending that help to others.
So let's talk about how this actually gets implemented. Because when we're talking about family and friends and them potentially derailing you and being an obstacle to your financial independence, let's talk about co-signing. Bo, do you co-sign? Put you in the hot seat.
In my opinion, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think that co-signing makes a ton of sense because there are ways for young people to begin establishing credit, for them to be able to start building that up. Most often when you see someone co-sign, it's for someone who has no credit at all, and so they feel, it's justified. Well, okay, they should start taking some steps to start establishing that. If you're co-signing for someone who's maybe made some really bad financial decisions previously, might be some red flags there, because what you're essentially doing when you co-sign on a loan, you're not really serving as a backup. You're getting right there next to them. You are right in line next to them when it comes to having to pay that obligation.
What I don't like about co-signing is that you are essentially going ahead and arming a financial grenade for your future. Because here's the way these things play out, guys, from experience, is that when you provide or co-sign on a loan, it's exactly what Bo said. You are sitting next to that person. You're not just the backup. You are basically guaranteeing that you will come in to bail this thing out if something bad goes wrong. The problem is the person who's the primary on it, usually when things go bad, they don't call you and say, guess what? I missed payments for the last 3 months. Right. What's going to end up happening is that you go apply for, maybe you need to refinance your house, or you have some big thing that's coming, and you run your credit, or the lender runs a credit report on you. or you go just renew your homeowner's insurance or your auto insurance where they pull your credit report and they go, man, your credit is horrible. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm one of the most responsible people in the world with my credit. I take it very serious. I pay my bills. I almost gave a Game of Thrones reference there, but I pay my bills. And the thing is that no, you got stuck because you co-signed, because that person you co-signed left you a nice armed grenade. You actually put the pin in there for them, handed it to them and said, when you want to, blow this thing up whenever you, because that's the way this thing plays out. And that's why it is such a horrible reason to co-sign on a loan, is because at some point in the future, you run a good chance of being disappointed. And that leads to the next thing. I do want you to be generous with your family members. If you're one of the people who has the saver's gene and you're one of the more successful people in your family, I think it's okay after you've funded your cash reserves, after you've got yourself on a path of funding retirement and then even taking care of the kids' education. If you want to be generous with your family members, it's fine, especially in their moments of need. But realize anything and everything that you lend to family members, you should not do more than you plan on losing. Mm-hmm. Anytime I've ever done personal loans, and it ouches. I mean, it hurts when somebody's not paying you back like you thought they would. But you just have to know when you do it, you might not get paid.
Sure.
I mean, I would not lend or give more than you can just afford to lose without derailing the financial plan.